Hey guys, it's me, Rich. $10 million. That number alone should get your attention because what just happened in Georgia is unlike anything we expected. You're watching a legal and political earthquake, and the ground has only started to shake. The biggest case against President Trump collapsed in front of the entire world, and now the same office that tried to destroy him might be forced to write a check for 8 figures. But what you'll soon find out is that this story isn't finished. It's entering a second act that is even more damaging, even more humiliating, and far more entertaining for us. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to RPW Media, where we try to make sense of the crazy world that you're living in. If you like our videos and you haven't done so already, you should become a subscriber to the channel. You can hit that notification bell, smack the like button, because it helps us get our message out to a lot more people. Also, you'll be notified every time we put out a new video, and thank you. Something very big is about to explode in Fulton County. The Fani Willis saga Part 2 has begun. Most people assumed the drama was over after last week's collapse of the case, yet a fresh Georgia law just changed the entire landscape. It opened the door for President Trump to step right back in with force and start swinging again. The people who celebrated the dismissal are now realizing that the victory wasn't the ending, it was just the beginning. The second act is where everything gets really expensive. This shift was not a rumor. It followed a headline that stunned everyone. From the New York Times, it said, "A judge in Georgia dismissed the last pending criminal prosecution against President Trump on Wednesday, effectively ending efforts to hold him criminally responsible for attempts to overturn the 2020 election. The president has now seen 3 criminal cases against him dissolve since he was reelected last year. Charges were also dropped against Mr. Trump's remaining co-defendants in the Georgia racketeering case, including Rudy Giuliani, his former personal lawyer, and Mark Meadows, the former White House chief of staff. The Georgia case has been seen as one of the most serious legal threats to Mr. Trump because state criminal convictions are not subject to presidential pardons. A motion to end the prosecution was filed Wednesday morning by Pete Skandalakis, the executive director of the state's nonpartisan prosecutor council. In his 22-page filing, Mr. Skandalakis, a career prosecutor who ran for office early in his career as a Democrat, but later as a Republican, shredded the case originally brought by Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA, taking it apart charge by charge. Now, he asserted something that I think most triple-digit IQ Americans felt the minute Willis's lawfare case hit the news, saying, quote, "It is not illegal to question or challenge election results." Remember that? I mean, Democrats must not yet know that the Constitution guarantees free speech. Now, Steve Sadow, Trump's lead attorney in the Georgia case, tweeted out the following bombshell. "Now that President Trump has won his Georgia case, we will be moving for attorney's fees and costs under Georgia Code 1711-6. This code section applies because the original Fulton County prosecutor, Fani Willis, was disqualified for improper conduct, and the trial court subsequently dismissed the case in its entirety." Suddenly, the people who thought that they were holding all the cards realized the table had flipped on them. That post revealed the situation that Fani Willis never expected in a million years. The new state law allows Trump's legal team to request reimbursement. The amount being discussed is enormous. Estimates are climbing above $10 million. Now, $10 million pulled from the very office that spent 2 years chasing him with everything they had. Some people call that poetic, and I call it justice. Local media explained what is coming next from WSB-TV. The case against President Trump and other defendants was dismissed last week after a new prosecutor was assigned following District Attorney Fani Willis's disqualification from the case. Sadow says the president was exercising his First Amendment right to challenge an election and was not involved in a criminal conspiracy to have it overturned. See, guys, the whole reason why this lawfare happened in all these different jurisdictions around the country was because they had to, just like for January 6th, the Democrats had to desperately get the fact that they stole an election off the headlines. So they went after Trump. He continued, the president was never involved in criminal activity. He was always innocent, Sadow told Channel 2's Richard Elliott. He said he called the president after the charges were dismissed. Quote, he was very pleased, and he made it very clear that that was the decision that he expected. Now, Sadow added that even if the case had continued to trial, he could have won on the case's own merits, saying, I would have pushed that President Trump had the right of free speech, that he was exercising his First Amendment rights, that he conspired with no one, that whatever actions people took, they took because they thought it was legitimate, and the outcome would have been not guilty, he said. He plans to file paperwork under the new state law to recover legal fees from the DA's office, estimating costs to exceed $10 million. This is what they do. The process is the punishment. They'll throw lawfare at you knowing that you got to put up a lot of money to defend yourself. Well, they never expected that this was going to happen. If the reimbursement is approved, the financial hit will be massive. It will reach every corner of the DA's office. This will not be a light inconvenience in any way. It could harm them in a serious manner. There is a larger pattern at play here. It is not only one prosecutor or one courtroom. Every person who tried to weaponize the system against Trump has seen their own situation start to fall apart. Alvin Bragg, the progressive Manhattan DA, who as a state prosecutor thought that it was just perfectly fine to work in the federal system to go after Trump. Sleazy prosecutor Jack Smith, who was chosen personally because Smith, number one, has a reputation of cheating, lying, and fabricating evidence, and number two, he had a hatred for Donald Trump because he didn't promote him to U.S. attorney, because Trump knew what kind of guy he was. He's not an honest lawyer. Letitia James, who charged Trump with fraudulently inflating the net worth of his property for a favorable loan, herself caught committing mortgage fraud. Now, a New York grand jury just failed to indict her because they all suffer from TDS. And then there's Fani Willis. The list just keeps growing. Some might call it a coincidence. I see it as a curse on the Democrats. Now, Georgia's new law changes everything again. Trump not only walks away cleared, but he also prepares to hand Fani Willis a bill for the mess that she herself created. First of all, she did not have the authority to take that case. In Georgia, there was a law that it goes to a panel, and the panel decides which prosecutor, which county, if you will get it. Well, no one wanted the case because it was BS. Fani Willis stepped up and did the lawfare thing. And she even gave a speech saying that all the other prosecutors in the state were either on Trump's payroll or they liked Trump. They were under his thumb. Now, this raises a really sharp question. Will this $10 million impact be the final moment in her career, or will she try to defend herself by playing the race card? Either way, the second act of this saga looks even more damaging for her than the first. And the truth is, it could not happen to a more deserving performer. This entire case was weaponized from the very beginning. It fell apart in the open. And now the people who launched it may be forced to pay the price. The legal winds have shifted, guys. The financial pain is real, and President Trump isn't merely walking away. He's walking away with the bill in hand. The upside, accountability is back on the table in Georgia, in Fulton County. The people who tried to take him down are now the ones defending themselves. So tell me what you think about this in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.